Yahoo Sports Fantasy Football this week is brought to you by Head & Shoulders. Check out troyshair.com.
With the first round of preseason games out of the way, which players are on the way up and who's on the way down as the regular season approaches? Hello, everybody. I'm Carissa Thompson here with Yahoo Sports Fantasy Gurus, Brad Evans and Brandon Funston. Gentlemen, let's get right to it. We'll begin with a pair on the rise. First up, Brandon, on a running back in Oakland not named Darren McFadden.
That's right, Carissa. Michael Bush is head and shoulders ahead of Run DMC in the battle to be the Oakland Raiders featured back in that backfield there. Look at Darren McFadden, since he's coming to the league, and a lot of doubters as a guy that could be a featured back. And really, he's basically proven them right when he has been healthy. He showed difficulties running between the tackles. And we mentioned that health. He's dealing with a hamstring injury already. He's missed 7 games in his first 2 years because of injury. And then all Michael Bush has done is in the background, he's just plotted away, getting almost 5 yards a carry for his career. You look at the 8 games in his 2 years since he's been in the league where he's been given 12 or more carries. The guy's averaging over 5 yards a carry and had 6 touchdowns, almost 700 yards. You extrapolate that over a 16-game season. That's very good production. You know, the Raiders' offense has been very bad in the last few years. Bush has actually made some hay in that offense, and this offense should be much better this year.
And you get bonus points for using the Head and Shoulders. All right, Brad, brush your shoulders off. You like another AFC running back that's heating up in Houston. Who is it?
Yeah, it's Arian Foster. The big noises man meter is moving on up for this guy. I love his potential upside for the 2010 season. Look, Ben Tate, done for the year with a serious ankle injury. Steve Slayton, still suffering from a devastating case of fumbleitis. Who is the default man down there in H-Town? It's Foster, and he looked spectacular in his preseason debut. 4 carries, 31 yards, including a nice off-tackle 21-yard scamper. It's going to be very difficult for Steve Slayton to wrest away carries from the up-and-coming star in Foster. A guy going right now around pick 100 in fantasy drafts. I think he could be a top 15 back by year's end.
All right, now for a pair of players who are starting to slip. Brandon, let's stay in the backfield with a bucking Bronco. Who do you got?
Well, I'll tell you what, Noshawn Marino's already been dealing with a hamstring injury. It's probably going to keep him out all of preseason. Still, you look at where he's going drafted of late in fantasy drafts, still going as a top 20 running back. I could see him going, another 6 or 7 running backs later than that, personally. I don't like the hamstring injury, but I also don't like this guy's big playability. He had 247 rushes last year. Only 2 plays did he go for more than 20 yards. And that was as many as Bruce Gradkowski had with the Raiders at quarterback. So, look, I think his big playability is a flat line. They're bringing in Lendale White. They're bringing in Justin Fargas. Lendale White can take goal line carries away. They're just, look at everything that's coming out of there and saying, hey, we need to help our running back situation. So, for me, I think Marino's risky at this point right now as being a guy that you would rely on as one of your starting running backs.
All right, let's turn our attention to the wideouts. Finally, Percy Harvin, so effective for Minnesota last year, but now dealing with some off-the-field issues. Brad, do you think the Vikings wideout could be one to avoid on the fantasy market?
Well, I like Percy Harvin's overall package. He's an exceptionally skilled player, a guy that operates brilliantly on bubble screens and across the short field. He's very explosive as well on end-arounds. But look, you got to look at his situation here. A guy keeps suffering from migraine headaches, and this was an issue that plagued him much of last season. Now, granted, he only missed 1 game, but he was perpetually a questionable tag every single week, which had fantasy owners screaming for Excedrin on a week-in, week-out basis. I think the same is going to be true this year, even with Favre presumably back behind center for the Vikes. I'm not touching Percy Harvin as a wide receiver 2 on my fantasy team, and that's where he's going right now in drafts around pick 60. I think there are better options like a Mike Wallace, like a Devin Aramashidu. They can get a round or 2 later where I think will be more productive by year's end.
All right, gentlemen, thank you as always, and thank you for watching Yahoo Sports coverage of fantasy football.